This is the way Sammy trots on the long reins now. Pretty damn cool. He's getting very consistent about it. About a week ago, we started to see flashes of it, but now he comes into it pretty easy and he can stay with it for quite a while. And I think it's a wonderful trot. Perfect tempo, beautiful rhythm, nice even bend. Getting to be a little springy. Won't be long I'll be riding it. I can hardly wait. And I'll just watch it for a few more seconds. It wasn't that long ago that his trot to the left looked the way the trot to the right tends to still look now. Just pulling and throwing his head around and not quite figuring out the bend or anything else. But after a few minutes, he starts to get the idea going to the right too. And again, it's really nice. It's not as good as the trot to the left yet, but it'll get there. You can see all the pieces are in it. Nice stride. When he's good, oh, there he's tripping over the mounting block. But once he gets it, it starts to get easier to get him back into it. This is all normal progress that you see. And here he is again. He's got it back in the right. Oh, for a few steps. Well, it didn't take too long, and we got him going to the right pretty well again. It's not quite as good as he is to the left, but it'll get there. It's a lot better than it was just a few minutes ago, and not quite as good as it'll be in another few days. But this is the way progress is made. And I still, I don't get after them if they decide they need a break and want to make sure they're doing it okay. So I tell them when they are. And then pretty soon he's back to work, good as ever. Then he says he's done with it for the day, and frankly, I can't blame him. So we're done with the long reins for the day. So this is the portion of the videotape where Sammy shows his well-defined sense of humor, and I show why I use that little plastic mounting block that's easy to move instead of a big wooden one where you got to move the horse to it. He thought that was funny. Here I'm doing a token. Let's try and get him back to where I'm standing, and of course that's about how it usually works. So I mess around with it for a bit. He says, I can do this easier than you can do that. And I said, well, I guess you got a point there, son. And so I get off, trudge over to where he is. Notice I bend him slightly away from me. In theory, if he's going to start walking off, he'll turn to his right and swing his butt under me when I try. Well, no, he says, I'm not done. I think this could be funny for one more set of laughs. Up he goes. When this time I decided I didn't have the block in the right place, and so I go off again myself. And he says, okay, I can do it one more time. So again, I'm not going to mess around trying to get him to step up. I'll just get off and move the block and get up again. I know I've seen a lot of people messing around for a long time trying to get the horse to stand there, and they're going to teach him a lesson and all that. And what I find is that invariably they do just what he's doing there. They say, well, there's no point in moving around. This old fat guy's going to get on me anyways, and so I did, and he put up with it, and now we're all set and ready to go. No fuss, no bother. And make sure, they're standing square when you go to get on them. And you saw when I put one foot in the stirrup and got up, I just want to lean over the saddle for a second. And then when he was standing still and being good, I threw the other leg over. I won't be getting on any baby green horses anymore, not at this age, but that's a pretty good method to do it. Take your time, don't get into a fight, don't make it a bad thing. And so even when I did get on, it took him a few seconds to sort of adjust to my weight again and get used to it before he was willing to step off. But there he is, wandering around again just fine. So here I decided to push him out to, say, the width of the ring, make it a big circle. If he wasn't dealing with that well, I would have made it a smaller circle. I just try and find out whatever's easiest for him at this point. You see, he's being perfectly good, isn't he? I keep trying to remind him to, put your head down, stretch out the way you did in the long reins. He says, "Oh yeah," and he's going to like that. It's just a whole lot easier for a horse to carry weight on his back, especially a weight like mine, uh, when his head is out and stretched like that. He's stretching down, he pulls his back up, and it just makes everything more comfortable. Now we're coming up to one of those points in a horse's career where the rider can either decide to teach him riding is fun and it's comfortable and I'm here to make it easy for you, or it's your job and you have to do it, damn it, and you better just do it and get over it. So I decided to take the earlier method, and when he got stuck, I just sat there for a second, gave him a moment to readjust and figure out his balance. I may have jiggled him a little left and right, but then he walked off again. And it's not great, but he isn't all shook up or upset or anything else. And that's really the primary, the prime directive. No point getting after them. Even if they do something overtly bad, you can correct them. But you don't want to get into a big fight with them. Just want to make the point they shouldn't do that and go on about the rest of your business. You can see he's getting pretty good about switching directions there. But he got stuck again. I gave him a moment to readjust, and he says, "Okay, I can go." And he did. Actually, I put him into a little bit of a tight spot there, but he handled it just fine, didn't he? If you're thinking, well, this is kind of boring, then I'd have to agree with you. And that's exactly the way good training should be. Just a little bit boring. Nothing very exciting going on. A lot of learning going on if you watch carefully. You can see the horse figuring out how to do this, how to change bend, how to carry me around. There he followed my guide and my lead and put his head back down when he started to come above. There his stride's just a little bit more better. Not great, but he's just relaxing into the whole process a little bit more. And that is my primary goal. There he stopped for whatever reason. He's a little bit stuck. Just playing with him. I wasn't really pulling the bit through his mouth there. I know it looked that way from this distance, but I was just sort of fiddling with the reins a little bit. And you'll see in coming days, maybe even the next ride or video, he'll start to open up the stride some more, and it won't be long. We'll be trotting around. Yeah, the way I used the reins there in the bit was more of a massage. I wasn't pulling his nose left and right. I was just sort of fiddling with it, sort of making suggestions to him. Just being pleased as can be that he's doing as well as he is. That's about as good as it gets when you're training a young horse or retraining an older one.